Hey, are you using this type of fuel sending unit in your tank? Maybe you got an auxiliary tank like mine. Maybe you putting one in a regular fuel tank. Don't use these universal cheap sending units from eBay. They're dangerous. Watch the rest of this video and find out. You might be surprised how bad they really are. Listen up. This video might save your life. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fixing Things. This video is all about sending units. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Do not buy the cheap sending units that you see on eBay. I'm going to tell you why. Because my fuel tank leaked as soon as I filled it up. Came right out the top. So on this video, I'm going to show you what type of sending unit you need to buy. And installing it and replacing it in your tank from the El Cheapo. Let's get to it. So I'm talking about my auxiliary fuel tank. And I purchased a sending unit from eBay. The cheapest one, it's not the cheapest one I could find, but you know, it was a cheap one. And the thing is, and I've said this many a times, you know, that you should buy OEM or high quality stuff. And you may pay a little bit more, but in the long run, it'll save you. And this was one of those cases. I filled this tank up after I got it running, and the truck running and driving, and I filled it up, and I filled it up past the tank level is here. I filled it up to here. Well, wouldn't you know it, the sending unit was spewing gasoline out the top. I lost almost like 1.5 gallons of gas. Coming out, was pouring down, coming out over the side of my truck. I got out of work that evening, and I had my wife. We drove together. She was scared senseless. It took me quite a few napkins and everything else to sop it up, but it was coming out. And you can see my Rust-Oleum paint doesn't like gasoline. But here, it was coming out this gasket. And if you look at that gasket, this is a brand new sending unit. And see how cracked it is? It shouldn't be like that. These El Cheapo sending units from eBay, they are no quality. They're not good at all, and they should not be used. Imagine going down the road and something happens and a spark and my gas tank catches on fire. For safety reasons alone, you should put one that's not going to leak, even if the gas tank flips over, right? Now, when you're ordering one, you got to make sure you get the sending unit that has the right ohmage for your gauge, right? So this was the right sending unit, and it looked like one of the factory units with the little thing and everything. Did you see that gasket? Great time of day. That's a brand new sending unit. Don't buy those. So let's get this one off and see what we can do. Now this gas tank is full of gas, so I got to be careful. I got to stand on my tippy toes here. Let's take this sending unit out. Somehow it comes out of there. Got in there. There we go. There we go. Now I did a video of putting this thing in there and adjusting this level and everything else. On this new one, you don't have to do that. I mean, it's already rusting. This is a brand new, and it works, but it's a piece of junk. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking it was leaking from these screws, but it was not. It was actually leaking from this gasket right here. And this gasket, it's brand new and it's already bad. junk. I can probably fix it. It works. I'm not going to throw it away. I'll probably fix it and use it for another project, but not on my gas tank, not for me going down the road. So out with the cheapest junk on eBay and in with a high quality one that has no holes going up through, only the gasket holes and 2 wires. These things are all sealed. They're made to go in the tank, and if the tank flips over, they will not leak. This one here is marine rated, so it's made for the sloshing and everything else, and even if it gets submerged, it won't leak. That's what I'm talking about. Safety. 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 Because I'm not the biggest guy for safety, that's for sure. So what I need to do is, now that I got this thing here, we need to make it so it works with the wiring harness I got. So one wire is the ground wire, which can go to the ground of the tank. The other wire is the hot wire that goes to the sending unit. So it should be fairly easy. Should be. Be all right. We got this. Is it going to leak? No. Thank God. I got to get this truck ready for the car show. Me and my wife are going to the car show. On the other side of your ground wire, which that's brown, not red, you want to put an I-ring connector on it. Also put a heat shrink on that too. You really don't need to, it's a ground. But I like doing it because it makes it look better. Make sure you put an eyelet on your ground wire, because you got to hook that to your sending unit. And I soldered it, even though I crimped it, I soldered it also, and we're going to put some heat shrink on it. Why? Because it makes it look better. Also need to put your heat shrink on all your other ones also. Now for safety purposes, I'm going to be taking this piece of cardboard and putting it over this vent, because I don't want nothing. There's fumes coming out right now. So I don't want no sparklage getting into that open gas in there. It could jump up over. So I think what we'll do is we'll just close that down, and that's going to help. Now we can solder our wires. We got heat shrinks already on it, and I think we're good to go. Safety. Put my old man reading glasses on. That's soldered awesome. Good penetration. I'm done with the soldering iron. Unplug it. And don't let the hot part touch anything. Now we can slide the heat shrink up into position and take your heat gun and seal that bad boy up. So I put a factory Ford connector on it for old wiring harnesses that I have. And that way, if I have to get the tank, move the tank out of the way, all I have to do is unplug the tank and we're good to go. Now that we got it all soldered together, I like to take some electric tape and make this look like a factory wiring harness, and it helps protect your wires from rubbing. You want to definitely cover up your your heat shrink. It's not necessary, but I think it's a good precaution. It helps if there's any air infiltration. This is one more little thing, and if it starts rubbing, it gives it a little bit of wiggle room. Just cover up your stuffs. All we got to do now is install it. Okay. Good thing I can get to the latch. So here's the new gasket. It's nice and supple and soft. And here's the one that this is a new gasket. And it's already stiff, and the edges are already showing signs of cracking. This is no good. Hopefully this is a better one. One thing you should note is your gasket. Most of these units, the 5-bolt pattern, are not symmetrical. So you better get away from there, little spider. You're going to get trapped. You don't want to be down that tank. Make sure your gasket lines up with the with your all your holes. And I'm going to use a little bit of sealant around the gasket. Try not to get it down in the tank. Get it in the holes because it could leak up through the threads also. We also probably want to get a little bit of a sealer on this side, but before I do that, I want to make sure my holes are lined up with the gasket. And they look like they line up. Wow, first time, not bad. So we want that gauge to be facing that way. This is not RVT. You want to make sure your gasket material you're using, your sealant, is rated for gasoline. This stuff is messy. Place your unit down in there. All right, I had to take it back up because my holes didn't quite line up. I needed to go this way. Once you get them all down, you take your one screw back up and hook up your grounds. One ground is for my tank, and the other ground is for the gauge. That thing should not leak. All right, let's test it out. There we go. The gauge is working. So remember, just because it seems like it might be a good deal on eBay or Amazon, and it looks like the OME original, doesn't make it good. You need to be safe. Look at that. Look at that brand new gasket. That thing is crud. It's junk. Look at the quality of this thing. This is in a new tank. Well, it's not a new tank, but these wires shouldn't this stuff shouldn't have already showed signs like that. It's junk. This thing is junk. So even though it's got actually it's like a big hard piece of plastic here, how is that going to stop fuel, right? The insulator. It's junk. Man, you got to be safe. It's gasoline. It's gasoline. Got to be safe. So remember, be safe, especially around gasoline. God bless you. Remember, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Buy good quality fuel gauges and you'll be happy. That's a lesson learned. That's a brand new fuel sending unit. Still works, but it leaks.